Hey, this is the Kubeflow Notebooks meeting for the 31st of July. Oh, last of the month. Okay, let's so quickly, this is mainly about Notebooks 2.0. That does connect to a lot of other things, obviously everything ranging from the central dashboard, which we also maintain as a Notebooks working group, to the what's the other stuff? To like the release process in general, because obviously we're the main next big feature that's going to come out because Trainer has just come out with V2, so we're the next big V2 or 3 or whatever you want to call the major release, I guess is the word. So obviously we're going to hopefully trigger the next big release of Kubeflow as well. But Notebooks 2.0, if you don't know what it is, we have this issue 85. It's been around for a long time. I mean, this issue was actually a summarized issue that happened years after the initial design, but the general idea is that it's a full rewrite. The goal is to make it so that it's creating environments that are not on the user's machine that can work on AI clusters, machine learning clusters, data clusters that they can run their Jupyter notebooks in and or other bigger groups of the workers, but that the initial thing is just the same features as the existing one, but with much better control. And yep, if you want to learn more about it, please read the FAQ. If you want to contribute, you're in the right place. The main place to get tasks, if you aren't on these calls and you're just watching, is in the Kubeflow Slack channel, Notebooks Slack channel on the CNCF Slack. But we meet every week here as well. Okay. There's a roadmap, but that's fine. If you use notebooks in production, please add yourself to the notebooks adopters MD file. We haven't really been pushing this very publicly, so I just said on this meeting, and this meeting's mostly contributors, so it's not really the same. Overall, if you use Kubeflow, we also would like you to add your other components that you use, which all have their own adopters files as well. If you are specifically, there actually is a call out here if anyone on the call who's specifically interested in being a reference for the CNCF for Kubeflow's overall graduation. We already have some. So like this, like, so for, it can be anyone, but yeah, preferably if your company happens to be a CNCF member, that's even better. But if they're not, that's still fine. Yes, so I just want to highlight, please reach out to me or Andre if you're like, yeah, I use Kubeflow in production, I'm a bank or I'm a random company and I like it. Cool, that would be nice. We just need like 3 of them, it's fine. We already got a couple. Okay, new people. There's lots of new people on this call, so I'll give people a chance to say hi. Let's keep it a little bit not too long, but does anyone want to say hi? You can either raise your hand or just type, or feel free to, anyone can unmute they would like. If not, then that's fine too, because people don't like talking sometimes. Okay. Well, there are lots of people, so cool, welcome. Dashboard migration. So I don't think anyone, I don't think Kimonos is here right now, but who's the best person to talk about this? Oh, is it you, Andy?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've pinged Kimonos a couple times. I'm sure he's just busy. That's fine. But I know he had started. We have 2 core PRs that need to be merged that then allow the actual, like, publish PRs that enable releasing to happen. The 2 core PRs, Yehudit and Liav, both opened. I know he started to review Yehudit's PR.
Because like, as a side note here, like I can merge PRs here, but like I also want him to take ownership.
Right.
And
So if you look at the
yeah.
pull request tab here, the big,
And let's
and he
not go through them
started.
now, but like I just want to like
Yeah, no. So it's these first 2, and my understanding was we needed to get 136 merged first, and then 135. And I know he started to look at this. So we're just kind of like waiting. There was like 1 round of review there. So just kind of like waiting to see where that goes. But as far as I know, like PRs are up, and it's just waiting to kind of get review from him to get them merged.
Yeah, because like I'm happy for him to take a similar role to what I'm doing in Notebooks 2.0 in this repo, you know what I mean? Which is like he should have more time than I do as well, like to do stuff, at least in the short term. I should hopefully have more time in the longer term as well. But anyway, so if that doesn't end up happening, we need to find someone else, you know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm saying, to take that role, like, because I cannot do that role for both projects. You know what I mean? Like, it's too much. But in the short term, if to unblock you, I can do it though, because it is also blocking Notebooks 2.0. So that's, you know what I mean? Like, so it's fine in the short term, but if that, I don't want to pull a nuclear option until, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll
So
start a thread in notebooks just to understand. Like I said, I mean, Kimonos has been wildly helpful, so it's not like if he just doesn't have time, just so we understand to know where to go. So I'll start a thread in
like we
the
can try and get like for example we can work with Canonical to which is very works to which again sells a distribution of Kubeflow. So I'd like to get them more involved. And so if you work at Canonical, please reach out. Let's make sure that there's a sustainable contribution system going from them. But we can probably just work with them to make sure that he like they understand that what he's doing is important. You know, like maybe they it's possible that he's doing it on his own time or something, like where it's like yeah. Um they're reasonable people. So, so cool. Let's
But yeah, so
move
as
on.
far as I'm
So,
aware, and I did kind of confirm with him last week, it's like all the code that we want, there's PRs raised for them. So now it's just, whatever
so the
process
goal,
we
so
in order
typically
to
the
get this.
goal from our Notebooks 2.0 perspective, or just overall, is to get a first release out of there. Um, so yeah, so I assume that's progressing at least, and so it's not. I mean, we'll come down to the tasks later, but it's probably not a hard blocker right now, right? Is it?
Yeah, I don't think it's a hard blocker. It's just something that if we could clear now to get it out of the way, that would be just a good win,
What is the state? So I don't want to know specifics, but what is the state of like overall health state of that repo? Like, is it in a state where if it was released today, you think it would actually be fine for us to use as a guide to installing Notebooks 2.0 or not yet?
Um, probably. I mean, like, there's no
There's no auth, right?
right. There's no yeah.
The
So
auth is in the other repo, unfortunately, which is why we're going to move that into there. But it's just
yeah. So I haven't even looked at it. We've been messing around with starting to deploy central dashboard, but for now, just to have something stable, I've just been using the manifest directory. I know that's not the right long-term direction, but just to get something down, that's what I've been going
well,
off of.
that's the only path for right now, and
Right.
that's what you should continue doing. But like what I'm saying is, because it will be the same, it's just going to be in a different repo.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's keep going. Okay, so again, I think just we'll go through the task quickly, just overall. So the goal is to get owners files, that's fine. We'll do that later once we've kind of got the release, I think. Consistent labels, that's fine. Yeah, we do need to go through the old PRs that were closed on Kubeflow, because a lot got closed automatically when we removed the other code. Yes, and they've got these tasks here. Gateway, that's all fine. Okay, graduation stuff. I don't know if Edo's been working on. This is for us to graduate as a top level not top level. I keep using that because that's an Apache term. CNCF graduated project. I think. Okay, this is actually something important for the overall project. I just want to highlight, which is that we can't achieve some of these in the security thing for the notebooks 1.0 because we have well, we can't. It's not that we can't achieve it. It's just that it requires work to do things that are debatable whether they're important if we're going to be rewriting everything in Notebooks 2.0 anyway, which is to fix like UI package CVEs that are reported. Because anything medium or higher needs to be acknowledged at least and documented, or anything critical needs to be resolved. Right. That's kind of the rule here to get to passing. Here on the open CF badge. Yeah, I just wanted to highlight that. So in terms of timelines for us, what that means is that if the CNCF graduation isn't going to happen until after KubeCon, November, that is, this year, North America, I think we should just target Notebooks 2.0 as the thing we're graduating. If it happens so that we don't have to worry about getting the security stuff solved on 1.0. If it's going to happen before November, then we do need to put some cycles into figuring out what we're going to do there. You know what I mean? For 1.0. So that because 1.0 will be graduating before, obviously, because we're planning to release 2.0 for the first time in beta in November, right? For the public. So at least the first time we'll say it publicly that it's going to be ready. So like, I'll definitely be, spreading the good word at KubeCon if other people want to. Feel free to do it as well. But anyway, let's. So yes, do we know Eder what he's planning? Sorry, what Eder's planning here?
So yeah, he's Eder's on PTO again this week. He had reached out saying that he was going to need help with some of these open SSF badge items, but I think he's not back until Monday. So I'll have a better idea
So I'm pretty
of.
sure the answer is that we've got all of them except I think it's under here. Not these ones. These ones are fine. These ones. Publicly known vulnerabilities need to be fixed. And the issue is that the definition of this for the CNCF's perspective is mostly just the CVEs reported in the containers, right? And so obviously a lot of our containers it's meaningless, so it's fine. We can pretty much ignore the ones in the notebooks ones because that's intended, right? Effectively, old versions of packages are what you expect to be there in the historical notebook container images. But for the UI are the ones that are hard to fix. Because also the containers are technically optional components. Sorry, as a side note, like the environment containers, like Jupyter ones and stuff. But the notebooks UI obviously is not optional. So, well, it is actually technically optional, but I don't want to be pulling that technicality on this, if you know what I mean. What I mean by that is it's optional because you can be a distribution and not include it, but that's really not what the spirit of this is. So that is kind of the thing that the pipelines people are saying as their solution to the problem. But anyway, okay, let's, I guess, move on then. My perspective on this is the CNCF has reformed a lot of their working groups and stuff now, so hopefully we can start getting some movement on that before November. If you're going to KubeCon, actually, is anyone going to KubeCon in this call, by the way? No, let's try and make sure we have some notebooks representation at the Kubeflow booth, if you know what I mean.
I'm still trying to figure that out, but I would really like to be there one way or another. So hopefully I'll know in the next.
If you're like a core contributor and you need me to like send a message to your manager or whatever, like I'm happy to do that. But like it's good. We need to make sure we got contributor representation there because as long as you're comfortable talking with users, like obviously if you don't want to do that, then it's probably don't go to the booth. But and you'll get difficult questions, don't get me wrong, but like you might get some business if you're working for a company that sells Kubeflow products. So be good. Okay, anyone got anything else about graduation? Nope. Okay. I just want to quickly follow up on the logo. Did we have anything, Jenny, here? Sorry to jump on you right then, but
sorry, just multitasking here. No updates on the logo at the moment. I haven't heard anything back from Andre. Has there been any updates on the ticket?
Yes. There's a zip file. I will DM it to you. They literally just sent a zip file with almost no comment. It's quite funny. That's always like a good security practice to download zip files that people send you with no context.
Is that like targeted as our final logo? Is that
so my perspective is that let's integrate it in the short term. To be frank, I think we can improve this. Like not this one. Actually, I think this is actually slightly better than the one they ended up doing. Actually, let's just check what they gave. Just before I make statements. Yeah, my concern is that, so I'll just paste in the colored version. That's like the final version in a stacked and horizontal form. Let's just confirm the. Yeah, so here is the. Oh my gosh, here's the horizontal form. Oh, what the heck? Don't use these PNG files. I'm just, you know what I mean? I'm just pasting them in for people to see. What's it called? I think they may have taken the draft very literally. The idea very literally is just like we didn't. I don't think they exercised any creative liberty, if you know what I mean. Or even maybe common sense in a specific case here, because I don't think this logo really works from a technical perspective. But I'll explain what I mean in a second. And then. So my concern, and I think it should be pretty obvious what I'm saying, is that this line is too small. And the other factor is that, because like even we had it as a bigger line, see? Like but that's just like more of a symptom of the overall, like the fineness of the shapes is too large, is too fine. You know what I mean? Like it's that like the like if I make this really small, that is not really recognizable as what it is. And But when I compare it to, let's say, I don't want to dive too much into this. This is more of a other decision, but like discussion. But like, for example, trainer, I think this one's pretty good. Let me just, so like when I put this one in here, it's pretty recognizable somewhat. The colors could pop more, but you know what I mean? Like this is, I'm not sure how to fix it. You know what I mean? Like part of me wonders if even just dropping what I'm saying is, from my perspective, the next steps are, let's just work with this for now, whatever, right? It's going to be the same shapes and everything like that, right? That's not going to change. So we can use it for now. And I think they've already added it to the homepage anyway. No, they haven't. Okay, sure. And then the next steps, I think, is just as we think about it, because we're obviously gonna have to make favicons and other things. Like, let's think about it. What this is. It's fine to have a first version, but what would be the better version? I like, like, is it just removing the computer outline? Is it making the computer also just seems kind of small? You know what I mean? Like, it's like things like relative to the positions of the central area. Anyway, this is my feedback. I am if I'm happy to be outvoted if people really don't think it's worth our time doing, but yeah.
I guess my only question is like, are there going to be any use cases where like we have the icon that small and then can we default to like another icon? If that's the case, that's a little bit more like readable. I think generally like icons shouldn't be so small that like people can't make them out anyway. But yeah, again, like I can open this back up to the floor and I think in terms of like the UX support that we have now, I think generally we should be able to avoid this kind of issue going forward.
Yeah, I mean, like, what I'm saying is that the concepts I think could be the same, but I'm wondering if maybe, like, for example, rather than using the white space in the middle, because it kind of just looks like it's stuck on. I'm just giving random ideas. We can talk about it more later, but like I'm just thinking like maybe like, you see how they've used the white to be the outline here. Maybe we should do something similar instead of using white in the middle or something. I don't know. It's like it just feels like this is fine, but it's like I feel like we can do better. That's all I'm saying. I don't love it yet. That's all I'm saying. I'm not sure. I'll leave it to everyone else though, because again, it's not something that needs to be the priority right now. But it's just yeah. And also, people can feel free to disagree. Like again, I'm not saying that the overall idea is bad. It's great. It's just even just basic stuff like, why is that not centered? You know what I mean? Like, why is the computer logo not centered? Or is it because it feels like it could be bigger? Anyway, whatever. Just who knows? And comparatively, I mean, to this one. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, just as far as action items then, I think do we want to hold off on making this announcement at the moment? Like it seems
what
like
would we be announcing specifically?
I guess since they haven't added it yet to the website, it's just like I'm just kind of curious, like what it kind of right now is the bottleneck. Is there
So there's two options. While we're in communication with their designers, it's just a matter of like, do we want to go back and say, hey, can we adjust it slightly? You know what I mean? Like that's, or if we want to, you know what I mean? If we want to push some of the tasks to them, because they presumably can do that, or do we just want to iterate on it ourselves later? That's my only question, but yeah.
I think it makes sense to just have something to support right now, just for like consistency and like brand recognition, and then we can continue to iterate on it, and then we can just maybe collect feedback from Kyle and some of the awesome UX folks that are here going forward if they have any thoughts on how to kind of update the color contrast or the centering to kind of make it a bit better for smaller scenarios. Does that sound like a good game plan to you?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, everyone's welcome to give feedback. It doesn't have to be people with UX sign, whatever. But yeah, like it's mainly, yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's fine in the short term. I mean, where are the places that we need something? Where is there something specific where we need to put it other than on the homepage right now?
Just using it within our application, like just kind of on the masthead, Oh, stickers, yeah, that's a funny idea. That's great. So yeah, mainly just like within Notebooks 2.0, just within the app, just to have kind of like a logo when people open it to kind of recognize with.
Which part? Where would you be putting it though? I'm trying to understand whether because most of the apps don't actually use their logos inside the app.
Um, just kind of like at the top in the masthead, like on the like if there's like an info tab or an about, like it would be there. I can take a look and get back to you on like specific cases.
Yeah, like just remember that the actual outer app is wrapped by the central dashboard, which has the overall Kubeflow logo in the top left.
That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So like that's what I'm saying. Like it's like there actually isn't the logo. As far as I'm aware, the logo is actually never used by any of the other apps inside of the app. If you know what I mean. Which we can debate whether that's a good idea or not. But like it's because the Kubeflow project, when deployed as a platform, is usually seen as the branding of the platform. Like for example, Red Hat probably puts the Red Hat logo in the top left. Kubeflow open source puts the Kubeflow logo in the top left. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of when it's a platform. When it's an individual app, yeah. If when we allow notebooks to be deployed on its own, that makes sense. You put that in the top left, sure. But like it's just yeah. All I'm saying is like from the main area where I think it matters is in the website, and so yeah, it's just a debate as to whether we want to do that right now or yeah. I mean that's kind of what I'm saying. But yeah, but you can feel free to use it, I guess, in the short term. But I'm not sure where you would be putting it. But yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, I think that'll require some more investigation as far as how we want to keep things consistent. And yeah, but this is great. This is a great first step forward in any case. It's nice to have a logo that we can identify with.
Yes, cool. Thank you for your work on this, by the way. It's not like I'm trying to push us to be the best we can. That's my goal here. Not like it's not a reflection of your, yeah. It's the I always everything can be improved. Usually, that's my perspective. But yeah, okay. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Customize. What's this?
We can defer this to the end,
later.
Matthew.
Okay, let's let people stand up stuff, and then let's go through we don't have the epics really structured properly, so let's just let people stand up who are here. So everyone who's done something in the last 2 weeks that is on the call or just wants to say what they've done, please add your notes under here. Let's start with not Andy because you have a lot of stuff as always, unless you want to go first. Maybe Polo? Sorry to like jump on people. People can't talk, that's fine too. I think you're muted if you're talking.
Yeah, I think something's weird with Paulo's because he's not muted in the participants view, but then he is muted when I look up at his tab. So maybe come back to him. I'm not sure what's up with that.
Maybe it's an input thing. Oh, you got him?
He just wrote it in the chat that he has a mic.
Oh, yeah, cool. Hashad, you're talking. You get to go first now.
Thanks. Then in that case, I've made the CRD change in the virtual service change for getting the workspace for each workspace get the virtual service and then the port in the workspace kind. Both of the pull requests are there. I just wanted to like get some structural, if you can, insights. If you feel like that's the right direction, then I can go and club them, both of them together. But if you feel like structurally both of them are not, like I need.
We can definitely let's review. So, do you have time after this call, or
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. Let's so specifically you're blocked by just needing a bit of feedback. Of course. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm probably the only one who can give controller feedback right now, so that's fine. Okay, yep. Anything else that you need help with, or overall, like, what's the status of your tasks? Like, so you're kind of have you raised the PRs yet?
Yeah, both of them, the first, second, and third.
Just link them from link them for me here.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, cool. Anything else you want to say that you're blocked by, or need any help from anyone else?
That's it. I think I have some couple of questions, but Andy will cover them when he asks.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Who wants to go next? Is Polo back now? Okay, maybe not. Okay. I think Jenny was talking before, so she's probably got a mic on. So,
yep. So I'm happy to. I'll drop my status in the chat in the board there as well. But Here, let me give a link. This sprint, I've been working on enhancements to the navigation and text consistency. So with that, we solved a few bugs in the nav. Let me see if I can link that in there now.
You feel free to just say what you're doing and then add it in a minute. But yeah. Is
Sure
there anything
thing.
that's blocking you or anything like that?
Nope, no blockers. Everything targeted for the sprint has already been merged. So yep, just continuing navigation and collaboration with UX for those UX improvements.
Is there anything that could make you make your life easier, or collaborations and things?
I think we are currently working on it and continuing to optimize our handoff process from dev to design. So that flow is consistently improving, and yeah, we're getting better at it as we go. And yeah, more improvements to be on the way.
With Eder out of the office, what's like is like, you know what I mean, like that's my only concern with the front end stuff at the moment, right? Which is like, do we have is who else is able to actually approve on the front end?
So Paolo.
Okay, if Paulo's available, if Paulo's able to, that's great. Yeah, I'm just making sure that there's someone available to approve. That's just my main. Yeah. Okay. He's actually a reviewer. Yeah. Okay. That's what I'm wondering. Like, if we need, because I want to get at least 2 reviewers at minimum on every single thing, obviously. But like, that's a longer term goal. I'm just checking. So yeah, hopefully that doesn't result in any blocks for you then.
Nope. Yeah, everything's great.
Nope. Okay.
I want to ask one more quick question just about the logo conversation. Is there anything that we need to, any last step to get it just like approved to get on the website? We really just need like something just preliminary to move forward with like the brand identity. It would just be helpful for development and consistency on the UX side.
I don't think so. I mean, as long as we, I think since the CNC, that's a good question actually. I think it might need to get into the CNCF logos repo, but other than that, I think it's probably fine. So there's no like, since it doesn't it's probably not trademarkable from a legal perspective. So like so I mean, yeah, it's just a matter of like updating it really. And it's right now, because like right now when I did the front page, I just added these logos as the thing because we didn't have one at the time. So yeah.
So does someone need to leave a comment in the CNCF ticket or like reach
Oh,
out?
it's more like, well, I guess this the first question is just like, are we going to send for any further requests for changes? If not, that's fine. If then we can just add it whenever we like. We do need to then store the logo somewhere. Probably it's probably the first step would be storing it officially in somewhere for our repo. You know, like maybe just for now, maybe just in the root main branch. You know, like we could probably just put it in under a logo folder. You know, it's probably the easiest way to do it. And then there is also there's a CNCF art folder which we would need to PR it into as well, I think, which is in the CNCF repos. But other than that, I'd say the first step is just getting an official source of the current logo in the repo. That's my recommendation. So we can follow, and so they've given us a zip file so we can just PR it in. Whereas, like, for example, Trainer has that exact thing. I believe under docs. I don't know where they put it, but maybe it's.
Oh no, I think it was there, Matthew, under docs images.
But I don't think that like there should. I'd expect to see a folder which is like.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is like, yes, this is yes, this is the logo, but I don't think this is like the package. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Sorry.
It's not fine. It's fine. Yeah, who knows? It's possible it's under some kind of community repo as well. But in the short term, let's just agree, like by merging it somewhere publicly, we can kind of agree that that's the current logo, and then we can PR it into the website, I think. But it should be good.
Okay, would you be able to send over, because I don't have access to the SVGs or those big files in that ticket. Would you be able to?
Yeah. I forgot to DM it to you. I was going to DM it to you. Let me just do that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And yeah, I don't want to take too much time away from the other folks here who probably have bigger topics to discuss. So I'm happy to cede the floor.
Cool. I think I sent it to you just now. let's continue. Polo, Matt,
Can you
you
hear me
back?
now?
Yes.
Okay, hello.
Oh, that's
So,
weird.
yeah, FYI, we're talking about approving front-end PRs. I don't think I can slash approve it, but I've been reviewing the PRs and either is being slash approve it so it gets merged. I never tested it, to be honest, but
No,
I don't
it
think
won't.
I
It
have.
definitely won't approve it. But you will be getting assigned to review things because you're in the reviewer section of it. So that's great.
Sure,
That's
yeah,
exactly the goal. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I've been doing. Yeah. Okay,
Okay, cool. And so in terms of things you're working on, are you blocked by anything? What are you currently working on? I know you're probably
Is what
blocked by my PR, but yes.
you
Or maybe that's
mean? What
like
PR?
the update workspace, or then maybe someone else is blocked by that.
Yeah, I think it's not me, but probably Charles or Guilherme are blocked by it. But yeah, I have to take new tasks. Probably join Guilherme's and Charles' tasks that they will create after they're done investigating work. But I've been doing some shoring, improving our build system to be more restrictive regarding import component specific packages and spelling, so the reviews get easier. But I've been doing this past weeks, so I'll be getting new tasks.
So you're working on this
today.
front end UI, sorry, API generation. You know, like the API, like the connection to the Swagger, or is that someone else?
This is Guilherme.
That's going. Okay, cool. Cool. Awesome. Is anything blocking you then, or do you have tasks to work on?
No, not blocking so far. I'll talk to Guilherme and Charles to see where I can help there.
Cool. Awesome. Who wants to go next?
I can go next.
Awesome.
I found some bugs and improvement areas for the workspace kinds, as well as I was investigating the central dashboard integrations and identifying the front end task with Andy and Harshad. But yeah, so that's where we are standing right now. I think we are getting pretty close to getting the front end look ready, and I'm just documenting things up for future PR when it comes to the front end for the central dashboard integrations. The only thing that is missing right now is how to get the namespaces from central dashboard. But yeah, that will be the next task right now for me.
Yeah, the best. Yeah, that's that weird. Yeah, that hopefully, the best way to try that is probably just to look at the script that's injected into the iframe once.
Yeah. There is some work from, I think, from pipelines. They use they create a kind of a separate client for that. We probably borrowed and use that code as inspiration and expand on that.
And
So yeah,
Charles, just for your benefit, I'm talking to some other Red Hatters and just trying to find time to get a meeting set up around that. Some of the people working on other Kubeflow components, Lucas from Red Hat, I think has done this. So I was just chatting with him before this working group call, trying to figure out a time, but I will make sure you're included in that as well.
So like just for reference, the answer to the question is there's a lib which is injected when it's iframed under a specific slash path. I forget what it is. There's only doc about it is here, which is not very good. It's just like saying that you can add this listener on that. That's which is not actually correct anymore. I think that's incorrect. Really? So check what the other ones have because they've added more features. But the actual code which is injected that you're listening on is in this file here, which is linked at the top of this, which is under public library JS under dashboard. But again, the best way to check this is probably going to be just running the notebooks UI in a dashboard iframe.
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now, and I'm trying to poke around and see which what's the latest event handlers that they're using to get the namespaces synced.
So there's one other thing, which is there's a special all namespaces field on the dropdown. So there's like namespaces, and then there's a weird token which is for all. So you'll need to handle that one extra case for like and you can also, I believe, disable it somehow. But for a specific one, I'm not sure how you do that. But yeah, like so, for a particular view might have it disabled. Also,
Yeah.
feel free to, I mean, it has to be backwards compatible, but we can talk about improvements where if there's something way better to do this, because I know there's like syncing issues where like the outer path might have been rewritten, but it doesn't know that that's happened, so things can go wrong. I don't know if that's specific about this, but more to the iframing. But like, you know, if we
Yeah.
redirect in our own app, right, sometimes you can end up with weird things happening.
Yeah, we will probably have a hook that that set the state for the current namespace, and everything will re-render based on that. We're not there yet, but yeah,
Because you know it's an actual iframe in the end, right? So like if
Mhm.
you click a link, the browser has scope kind of protection usually, and so it may not correctly allow the path of the host of the actual window to be rewritten, HTTP path history. That's all I'm saying. Like just let's, because we have a bug in the 1.0 right now, which is where you know you go in the notebooks UI, you click on a notebook, and you can go to the volumes page, which is actually under a separate path. But because all of our UI should now be under / workspaces, it should be fine. But like because it was jumping you to one outside of workspaces, it glitched out.
I see.
Because like, you know, you could go to volume, right? You know what I mean? For a particular workspace. And again,
Mhm.
we'll probably do the same thing in the short term because that's what we have right now. You know what I mean? But the future is that's why we're trying to get rid of all those other UIs and put them into workspaces, including probably some other stuff as well. Not the only reason why, but there's, you know, it's just, yeah. It's all I'm just highlighting that. So we should be careful not to, it should be fine for now. I'm just saying, like, let's, yeah. It's a common bug.
Okay.
Cool. Anything that's blocking you then?
Nothing is blocking me, but yeah, looking forward to seeing your workspace edit, and so that we can start the workspace
Yes.
kind edit as well. But yeah.
Yes, sorry, that was we ended up doing a lot of other pull request reviews last week, but that was mostly around logistics. But yes, I'm sorry about that delay. Okay, cool. Hopefully you're not working on the client generation. That's Jeremy, right?
No, that's me. Yeah, he can probably go next.
Okay, cool. Anything else you want to add before we let him go?
No.
Cool. Jeremy?
Yeah, so from my side, I've been helping with PR reviews, at least for front-end ones. Other than that, I closed the issue 457, which is related to the start-stop API changes. It was just to adapt the front end to the new changes there. Last thing is the types and HTTP client layer auto generation. I already have a PR open, but it's blocked by 2 backend PRs. And once those are merged, I can finish it up.
I think those were Andy's ones which have a serious issue with. There's like the one of them can't be merged until we fix Swaggo itself, I think. But this one I think might be able to be merged.
Yeah,
it needed
so
to be rebased.
488, and then I'll talk about 489. I think we can and should merge 489, but I'll explain why when it's time. But that 488 I rebased, and it's good to go.
So other than that blocked issue, is there anything else you have to work on? Or is it that once this is done, you'll have a whole bunch of tasks to be able to do stuff, Jeremy?
Yeah, once those two are merged, I can finish this PR and then move to other tasks.
So like what I'm saying is once this PR is merged though, is there further integration stuff that you'll be able to do with the client stuff?
Actually, everything is there already because Andy has been generating for me the most up-to-date Swagger file. So the PR is based on this most up-to-date Swagger file that kind of includes all the changes that we need from those 2 backend PRs. But once those 2 PRs are merged, I can simply work on less details.
Yeah, stuff like, I guess I think Andy and I were discussing around like to what extent validation should or shouldn't be done in things like that. But yeah, in the front end, that is.
Yeah.
Cool. Certainly if you have situations where if the Swagger file had something extra, please make sure you feed that back to the everyone, just so that like, you know, if it's like, oh, if the Swagger documented something correctly, or for example, just a quick question for you, how much impact is there to for example, the Swagger not specifying a particular HTTP status code that could come from the request?
Let me think.
Is there like a handle? Like, how does what is that? Where's an example handler? Like here, there you go. Interesting.
Yeah, that's it.
Because I mean, this is always the same structure, so these never change. But I'm just wondering if like does this, because you know, I mean, because the API actual information, it is there, the status code, but I'm just like, is it a big problem when like someone forgets? Because this is a common thing people forget, you know, to include specific ones.
Yeah, up to this point, it's not a big problem because actually we kind of still have to work on the error handling on front end side. I think we don't have worked on that part yet, but once we implement all the kind of handlers for all these codes, better not forget to specify them.
Cool. I'm just wondering if like, yeah, because I wonder if there's a way we can like make sure that we're handling everyone that's documented or something. I'm not sure. Maybe that means we need to make a specific outer envelope that's different for specific status codes, you know, like so that so that then like, I don't know if that's better or worse. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like, because right now we have the correct response and we have an error response be the two options. You know what I mean? And it's like, I wonder if, you know, like in the same way that when you've got an enum, you're checking all the possible values. Like, I don't know. This is a question for you guys on the front end, I guess, because it affects you mostly. Is would you prefer a specific error envelope object for each kind of status?
I mean, like we include, you know, I mean, like in my mind, I think that's like overthinking it because fundamentally you get the response code and the code is also embedded in the body. So like wrapping that in its own object, I don't think buys us a lot. I mean, like it's more type safe. I'm not disagreeing with that, but I think functionally at runtime, I'm not sure.
And also additional API errors could happen. Also, there is always the possibility, by the way, as a side note, of if the admin or cluster, whatever, has decided to make a, because again, the user is doing the request, the front end is not. And so therefore they might be behind a proxy. And therefore,
right, like, you know,
and
HTTP 100 or 503 of something crap, you know
weird
what I mean? There's
things
like,
could happen. It's more likely that additional other error cases happen, which are like, so we always need to handle other non 200/201 or whatever the expected number is. You know, or just, it could just be wrong. Like really strange things could happen, you know, is what I'm saying. So like, we should also validate that the response was expected in its structure, you know? Like because for example, a middleware could do something weird, like not middleware, wrong word, like a proxy, you know, like say the user is talking to the cluster through a load balancer. Maybe the load balancer is overloaded and sends too many requests, even though it actually was the app, not the app doing it, you know, or something.
or if someone, you know, borks their like, you know, routing, you could get
Yeah, or like we
HTML
talk to the
without-
wrong website. Yeah, we're talking to the wrong platform. Yeah. All I'm just saying is that like I think we need to, this is a place where there's a potential for issues, is all I'm saying. But yeah, I don't know. There's some, maybe that's something you could think about after we've got this in, so that we can think about like adding stress tests where like for cases where it's in critical paths, having unit tests or whatever for unexpected response structures. You know, that's probably the best way to test that. But yeah, and status codes. Okay, anything else blocking you, Jeremy, other than those, which obviously you're blocking? So, yep.
Nope, only those two.
Cool. Awesome. Who wants to go next? Who hasn't gone? We have... I'm just gonna... There's 2 other people here who haven't spoken, or 3 maybe. So if any of those people want to... If you haven't had tasks, obviously, it's better to just ask for tasks. But anyone before we go give it to Andy? Okay. Okay, cool. Yep.
So yeah,
And
biggest near-term stuff on my end, a lot of collaboration with Harshad and Liav and Yehudi and Charles just around central dashboard. I have an internal document not ready, like we wouldn't put this in the repo, Matthew, but I've been meticulously documenting, every step it takes. We're still refining that doc, but we're deploying things now. Charles is working on some of the better glue, hiding our nav, hiding our namespace dropdown, those types of things. But we do have things deploying and running within an Istio deployment. And Harshad has even piggybacked on that, right? So we have kind of, once you manually kind of craft this kind cluster appropriately, we have, everything running and flowing through Istio, which is fine based on some of the talks we had last week. I spent a lot of time messing around with Kustomize. I truly love and hate Kustomize. I'll say that, confidently. So I have some proposals of stuff. We don't need to go over it on this call, but I can review with you later on kind of where I landed. But some of it, I'm just interested to get your thoughts on what you think about that. What do I plan to work on in the next 2 weeks? Obviously, as we discussed, starting to get things really converted over to this sub-issue format and getting these future epics put out, and then starting to really focus on our GitHub project boards to make sure they're accurately reporting this status. I think next week I'll have a lot more time to do that, as the central dashboard stuff seems reasonably stabilized now in terms of getting things documented. That won't be nearly as much time. And so those are the biggest primary
the goal
issues.
here obviously is so that everyone can look here. We can go through this every meeting and be like, what's the overall plan of the current epics being worked on? What ones have tasks that are still going on that are meant to be active, and then who's working on those tasks? I mean, that's going to be the goal of like the overall epic stuff, so that we can make sure we're on track and track the overall things. So hopefully that will be helpful for everyone, and then you can also, as anyone who's contributing, see where your work fits more easily into the overall epic and whether you are on the critical path and things.
So yeah, so as other people start to review those boards, I think Matthew did a great job getting stuff initially set up, but feel free if you have questions or comments to raise those in the Slack channel, because as Matthew said, like we want that to kind of accurately communicate where we're at and what we have to get done, so people can kind of intuit that. There's been a couple
new views and stuff too. Yeah, if you have new view ideas, we just kind of did ones that were very basic, but yeah.
And then there's a couple people that have reached out through the Kubeflow Notebook Slack channel, contributors that I think are like grad students. And so I've kind of given them some issues that aren't really tied on any critical path we have right now. So I've been kind of just talking with them. Someone posted a question about some documentation stuff, Matthew. That's me kind of working with him to kind of outline that. And then some of the stuff we've talked about in terms of dry run query parameter to use for validate operations. Again, a kind of contributor outside of Red Hat is going to start to look at that. So I'll kind of work with those people to start to get that stuff shaped up to hopefully get them to be, happy contributors moving forward.
Cool.
So yeah, so those are my general updates. If we have time, I think getting feedback on Harshad's virtual service stuff is far more important, but then discussions after recording, if we want this recording to run long, around some just thoughts on manifests and some of the assumptions that I made here are the two things worth do. But I'll cede the floor for now, as Jenny would say, to get back to normal business.
Yeah, so we'll come back to Harshad in 2 seconds, but is anyone else blocked by something that needs my review? Like that I could answer a question easily, or something mechanical might be blocking someone. If not, then we'll just go to Harshad's question, because he is in that category. So which one was the one you wanted to look at? We'll do this one on the recording because I think it might be useful for some people. But
I think I just added them in the list, but yeah, 500 and 507.
Which one first? 500?
Yeah, this is the one with the virtual service. So if you like the structure, I can continue. But yeah, that's what I would overall just want to get.
So is this a PR into the controller, and it's
it's a pull request in the controller. What it does is it looks for any workspaces which is being created, and every time there is a workspace being created, it will try to include a virtual service for it, and then it will connect that basically the virtual service is trying to connect it to the service which it has, and it will then you can propagate it through the extension or the endpoint which we have specified in the issue.
okay. So this is a test. No, it's not a test. This one is So
So I've tried to keep the same general structure and try to see if a virtual service exists, then I try to compare like why is it where is it coming from so that we don't collide with a 1.0. So I've placed it in the same structure as we have the rest of the code.
so to be clear, have you done the name generator thing that we do?
Yeah, it should be there.
Do we know what the actual restrictions on the names are for?
Yeah, it is pretty big number, but I try to
Is it
keep
actually service? What I'm saying is I'm not sure it's the same as service, right?
It's not. It's much more than service. So I thought let's keep it to the service list length, right?
Oh,
It had
well, that doesn't really matter, right? Like it's like
it doesn't matter. It has I think it has
254 or whatever,
yeah,
probably. Yeah, that's
yeah.
my like. Let's just like what I'm saying is so that people don't get confused. The name of the actual service, virtual service, is actually irrelevant. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
which is unlike the service, which is actually used in
True.
DNS entries. So like my only, it doesn't really matter. That's just more of a stylistic thing, but it is a breaking change. So let's start. I think I do think let's figure out the
Mhm.
exact number that it's allowed to be, and
Absolutely.
and do it. But we'll come back to that later. So in terms of specific questions, where is I mean, we can obviously just do a PR review once you feel it's ready. But what's this? Is there a specific section that you would want like our feedback on
Yeah, if you scroll a little bit above, you just skip through
above?
that. Yeah, right. Let me also open it on my tab so I can give you line numbers. So in the workspaces,
Mhm.
1 second. You can still hear me, right?
Yes. While Harshad's pulling that up, Matthew, I'll jump line to ask a question on his PR. It was interesting. The endpoint written up in the issue is /workspace singular. Was that intentional? Like this is like a different root segment than the other APIs we have? I wasn't sure if that was on purpose or not.
It wasn't, but that is actually how pipelines does stuff, but that's not. I don't think that's necessary in this case. If it's let me check which path it is. Yeah, so
Yeah, it's on line number for if you go to the workspace controller.go, you will find the line number on 961.
so this
Yeah.
actually raises a question. By the way, just responding to Andy first, is so this path is problematic. If we think about it, this obviously won't work because, well, workspace might work, but if it was workspaces, it probably wouldn't work, just because of the fact that there is, for example, API is a valid namespace name, and API is the prefix that sits here, if you know what I mean. So like it's so I will note that the front end is not involved when you're actually talking to a notebook once it's running. So also, I think this path in general isn't safe. What did we end up? Are we sure that that's actually the path that I created for this one?
Yeah, if you go to the issue, there's also linked in the description. I've linked the issue, which is solving this, and you mentioned it there.
Interesting.
So I think you're on the precise point, right? I think this is what Andy was also asking in general. If we know what the prefix is, what is going to be used in general for the whole application, the Notebook 2.0, if it's workspaces for front end and workspaces / API for back end, then we can discuss on what we needed here for the controller, right? Like for each work. Then if you want, we can call it workspace as you have
Well,
defined.
so I think that's a slightly different conversation, Harshad, because if we're talking about these like kind of virtual routes used within Istio to route, then like workspaces might be a default value, but this ties into that app prefix notion where you could kind of change that core routing segment. So I view this as kind of
This will always so this is so like the thing I'm just debating in my head, I'll speak out loud for everyone, is that I don't see any way to make it work with workspaces. I think we will need to use workspace for this one. The reason being that there's and all workspaces are going to exist in a namespace. So even the ones that are in the future potentially off cluster, but in this case, we would probably still be having a virtual service at this path that would redirect you to the actual source. Like, let's say it's pushing you to a VM running on-prem or something. So there, like the only debate in my mind is just whether we wanted to have a special prefix here for kind or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like that, there might be some benefit to doing that. But again, we could just easily have it makes the API a bit messy, but we could obviously just have underscore here or something like that. That's like, you know, not a valid namespace name, right? Anything that could indicate, like underscore API could be used if for some reason or some other route type. But like this, obviously for reference, is actually used in another place as well. So are you using that? Because like you have why are you matching?
I thought like the way this virtual service was working, like it needs to like the endpoint.
Oh,
exists
sorry, this
what
is
we
a
want,
virtual
right?
service definition. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yes.
And then it redirects to the
we should
part.
definitely isn't there a helper function to do this part? Or if not, then we should factor it out into a helper function so that it's consistent, I think.
Okay.
Because I think we did this in the template one, you know, for the environment variables.
Mm-hmm. So now I've written to-do statements there because I also want you to take a look at the CRD change, and then this would pretty much change, right? Because of that, that sort of things. So yeah, for now, I'll just keep it so that you can take a look, and then I'll change them.
Also, yeah, technically this is a configurable path, I think, as well, this one. So yeah. Okay, and so specific questions, I think you were finding something.
So right now, if you see, I'm basing them all through STO API. Like if you look at the type of things where I'm using their own structure, and when I'm doing this, both of like at least the client Go has the add to schema part. So I've added that to the main, and that's why the schema is working as we want it to work. And so just wanted to confirm like this is what you would like, right? And so that it's easy.
So you're indexing as well. I'm just trying to find it. Where did you do that main part?
Yeah, it would
This
be
is how
in
you
the
have to do it,
main,
to be clear. It's not really an optional thing.
Yeah. Just wanted to confirm things which like this is the sort of things.
And so yeah, I think there's one other place I think that we do schema though that you might need to add it to.
It's in the suit.test, right? Like once I write the test.
Yeah, the helper, right? Or something.
Yeah.
Isn't maybe there's even a helper, right? Maybe that's a different app.
I don't know.
I think maybe we do that in the back end.
I
Maybe
think,
that's
yeah, back end has that helper. Yeah. So this, I'm not sure about control. Back end has
maybe
that
we
helper.
should do it in the back end as well, or the controller as well, like so that it's consistent. You know what I mean? So there's only one place you need to add it, not for you, but just in general. Because right now we currently do this. Like I'll just show you what I mean for people. Again, we're obviously getting a bit in the weeds, but I guess that's what we're all doing here. Notebooks, backend. So I believe that the main of the backend, which also uses controller runtime because it makes stuff really beautiful and easy for like caching and using list watches rather than regularly listing every resource in the cluster. But like there is a helper in this case. We've made one called build scheme. But let me just find what it is. I wonder, don't do it in this PR, but like we should probably do the same thing or note down that it's a thing we should do. And then we used this in a couple of places, I think. The problem is we don't have it on main. Okay, so yeah, that's gonna be main. But yeah, so like I'm pretty sure this is pulled in at least one other place. And actually, this is an interesting situation as well, right? That I think because I don't like init functions aside stuff. This obviously is normal because I think the reason I didn't do it is because of this line right here, which is that KubeBuilder would fail to work if I didn't do it. But since we're not using KubeBuilder in the back end, I was like, well, this is much safer because I can get a nice actual error. Like this will just panic, right? Obviously, that's what must in this context means, which is fine. But it doesn't help the user really know exactly what failed, you know? It shouldn't ever happen in a real world situation. Yeah, it's probably fine.
Yeah. But if you feel like this is the way, then it's great.
Yeah, so like so we can do a hardcore review once you believe it is ready. And so my definition for you for believing it's ready is that you have tests that pass, that you've tried to run it in a real cluster, not a real cluster, but you know, like at least on a kind locally,
Yeah.
and that it does what you would expect it does.
Yeah.
In this case, because it has end-to-end flow, I'd prefer that you also have tested it with it doesn't need to be all the way to the front end and everything, but like that at least you can connect to the notebook that is running, you know, like, and that
Yeah, I have a screencast. I can add it to the description. I've already tested
because
that with
obviously I'll do that as
front-end.
well, but like before we
Yeah.
merge it, but like I expect there will be a round of review here. So my perspective question for you then is because like I can definitely see things that like for example I'm always very hesitant to add logs and things. I mean I just confirm what we did in the last ones, but like obviously these potentially run millions of times a day. You know what I mean? So like anytime
Yeah.
that you add a log is it has a load. You know that's the only thing. But like yeah.
Absolutely.
And obviously stuff like around is this actually a because normally I think this is used for warning, right?
Mhm.
And so like if this is an error, shouldn't it be an error, you know? And anyway, but like I'll go through the like I would review any other thing, but like when do you think that is ready, or do you think it's ready now?
So this part is already workable. Like it is so I kept it in a way that it will work if you put it in a cluster, in a kind cluster. It will connect, it will work. The only things we have put in to do is like if you look at the CRD changes, then I can change or like try to bring that with
So
in
is
the
this not doing the CID change that we talked about?
no, there's a different pull request, 507, and that's the part which has the port change. And then I will update this, or I can club them
Is
together.
this the correct definition, by the way, or did we end up doing it differently again?
This is the one which we discussed in the previous call as well.
Like, Paul, is this what I'm saying? I think we discussed it, but like, is this what we agreed to do, or is this not what we agreed to do?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Based on the information we had in the previous call as well. And that I did it in the 507 pull request.
Interesting. So, is there a reason why you split them, or?
Because I initially I just wanted the virtual service to work so that people can at least do the connection, then they get unblocked with this at least one. And then I did the CRD change so that it has the entirety. Now we can expand them with more.
Part of me wonders if we should just merge these together. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I thought so too. I just thought it would be a very big pull request to review. That's why I split them.
I mean, from my perspective, this is not a very big pull request to review. You should see some of the pull requests I have to review. But the like,
if
it's
you
got
agree,
less than 200 files changed is not that big. But because like what I expect is the reason that just for combining it is just to make it so that writing tests is easier. Because my concern is that like you're just gonna have to write tests that you're gonna have to change. You know what I mean? That's my like because I can't merge this one without some test.
Yeah.
And integration tests and other things like that. Like for example, because I want to add integration tests to the end-to-end, right? End-to-end tests. You know what I mean? So because the end-to-end test exists on the controller, so we can actually do a wget on or whatever, you know what I mean, on the actual virtual service deploy. And that means that we need to add it. I agree it will be a painful one because it means that we also need to add Istio to the end-to-end tests. We have to do this in the same PR, is what I'm saying. Like we need because it's impossible to know whether it's functional. Like there's obviously like stylistic changes and potentially like there might be typos that we can find, but like it's like what I would want is we would need to go right now. Istio is not deployed in the integration test for controller, right? And so presumably this will fail, right? My suspicion is that if I approve tests on this, this is probably going to fail. Yes, right. So already that one did. I'll approve the other one just so that it shows as failed. But let me just 5. But thank you for working on this. But yeah, so is there any reason why it's separate right now? Or like when you say people could try it, what was the reason for that?
So like I was saying, like the first one, the 500 was like initially we wanted people to have a connection button, right? So that at least if they are doing front end, back end changes, they can try with the connection button. So I had put the 500 pull request so that a virtual service would exist if you deploy the controller with that change and it will work. And now we are making the port changes because now we can do the additional bits of the HTTP proxy and stuff. So I can combine them, as you said. And
yeah, just because the integration test, right? Like these are unit ones. Yeah, these are unit ones.
Yeah, these are the unit ones.
Because I don't want to merge until we have an integration test. That's my only kind of because we like an integration test in this case is pretty straightforward. It's adding, because I'm pretty sure this is going to fail on this one as well, right? Like we'll see if it does. Well, this actually definitely will, because it's probably not based on the correct. Oh, I see. This one actually probably won't fail because it's not actually changed. Oh no, it definitely will. Sorry, this is the expected structure will be wrong. Yeah. Okay, but this is interesting. This one actually could be merged first.
Yeah.
Like,
I
you know
mean,
what I'm saying? This like, I would actually say that this one maybe should be merged first. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like this because there'll be like, let's actually, that's my task for you then. Let's get this one into a mergeable state, because you don't have to deal with the fact that the integration tests need to be written on this one. You just need to get the integration tests to show the correct, we need to reconcile it correctly. You know what I mean? Not, for example, is that, like, we can debate things like this. Is that the correct port ID? Is that the exact same as the port ID for the other one?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I have written the validation loop to confirm those things. Yeah.
Is that the only requirement? Any ASCII character?
That's what I thought. I can double check this.
I mean, well, maybe we messed up in the other validation is what I'm saying, because it seems this is definitely not sufficient is what I'm saying.
Right, I can check.
The reason why is because ID is used in HTTP path.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So like a slash is a valid character.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll check and confirm and change that.
Yeah. So like we could put a comment, but anyway. So like, let's try and get this one merged first. Like I know it's a bit backwards, but let's do that. So yeah, will you get time over the next day or two, and we can move on to the next review?
I just wanted to ask, like, when you say mergeable state, what are you looking here? Like, I thought this was the changes which you want. Do you want like integration?
Test must pass. Well, we have to review it, obviously, right?
Right. Of course, absolutely.
Yeah. Test must pass. Integration tests, especially. And is this sufficient? Like, is this the only field that we were adding, right? Like, those are the ones in our plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems right. And what did you actually put? You actually put this as the HTTP proxy path. This has been something that I've been avoiding, just as a side note, as a conceptual side note, doing, which is not, is this our HTTP proxy?
No, it's not ours, I believe.
That's what I'm just checking. I don't know, it is ours, it has to be. Let me check. Yeah. Wait, what? Oh yeah, it's the same, because all we changed is that's what I'm saying. I just make sure we weren't wrapping the internal SDO one, because we don't support everything that they support, is what I'm saying. Like, you know, so yeah, that's fine. It's just because you pulled this under here, that's why.
Yeah.
That already existed. That's why I'm saying let's get this one merged. But I'm almost certain that these tests will fail for a couple of reasons, but let's just.
Got it.
Yeah,
so I'll confirm the test will pass.
Yeah. And so let's and also make sure the integration ones pass as well. Let's also confirm the port. I can obviously give you a specific review if you like, but and then let's get this merged, and then let's rebase the other one on that one, and then the other one will be much bigger as well for one other reason, which is that we need to actually add the end-to-end test stuff. If that is too complicated, or you don't want to do that, we can probably do that in a separate PR to do this, because this is actually going to be quite difficult, I believe. Because, for example, we already have some catches for like cert manager. Like, effectively, you need to DDoS it to a couple of times just to make sure that it actually successfully uninstalls. And because Istio is a validating webhook, I could imagine situations which get really messy, you know what I mean, in the unit, to make the unit integration tests actually run properly. Like, for example, like I think in cert manager, it'll be under suite. Yeah, so like, we'll need to add things like, you know, skip Istio install and things like that, and then validate that it's the correct version, and then like, if we have cert manager install, you know what I mean, like, it's where's that utils under there, so there'll need to be one called like Istio install, you know what I mean?
Got it.
And because this will take a bit of time, and again, so because the thing that we're testing with Istio is this, it's probably better to do that in the same PI, you know what I mean? but
Yeah.
it's
So I'll take them as an action item. I'll first get you the 507 to a
yes.
reviewable state, so you can review that and then go from there. I'll rebase the 500 with the 507, and then I'll start on these integration test as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
And Harshad, talk to me, right? If you're getting pulled into other things, like I can always maybe just look at trying to like apply the testing stuff on your PR if you feel like, you can't focus on this. So definitely stay in touch with me and we can combine on this if necessary.
And if you need to keep 500 open for your other people to just pull in, that's fine too if you want to raise a separate PR.
yeah, I'll do that. I think I've given them an image, so I think that should be enough.
Because you'll lose obviously the history is the only reason. Like
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
it won't be
true.
possible because that PR is going to become very difficult to cherry pick, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the like because this part alone, I'm just debating whether we should actually do this whole thing in a separate PR, this one. Because this is just so complex. Like I honestly I would suggest that you do.
Mhm.
And because the errors that I want to detect here. So for example, we've got like, is this installed? Like we're going to do that. But there's like I'm very familiar with how Istio works, but
Right.
Istio is complex. Like it is a large machine of resources. So like just kubectl applying it probably won't work. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of so the way that they do it in other tests, what I mean by other tests is like for example in Kserve, I think they use so they use the Istio controller. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This is a debate which we can have probably right now. Actually, it's probably a good debate. I don't want to encourage people to use this in production because I don't want to have any dependency on any particular way of installing anything like this. But part of me wonders if we should use this. You know what I mean? As a slightly less crazy way to get things installed. Although the issue with Istio, I just want to highlight, is that Istio, yeah, we need to do this in a separate PR. And honestly, and maybe Andy actually would be a better person to do it, given you've been working on the manifests for the dashboard, if you have or haven't. Maybe you haven't, because you've just been applying it upstream. So like the issue is that you can't, there is no place where you could install Istio from that would work. You're actually going to need to add, oh God, this is actually so painful because like effectively the problem is that Istio CRDs okay, it's actually it's just a debate we have to have. Like, so end-to-end testing, right, requires that it's connectable. To make it connectable, you need to have installed Istio and then installed a gateway with a load balancer or something that then, so like for example, our end-to-end tests for basic are very, very basic right now, but they do a wget on the pod from within where I think they just run a, where do they run this? They run this in, yeah, they run a pod within the thing, which is not correct. Because like Istio in this case is, actually this is, oh God, it's just, what I'm saying, it's just very interesting, right? You know what I mean? Like from a like, because Istio is primarily about a service mesh. You can probably run a pod that's in the service mesh, but then how do you do it? What if the user already has Istio installed? What does that even mean? Like how do you remove Istio safely? That's really, really hard from a cluster. It's almost impossible actually. So like, yeah.
So I understand all of that, Matthew, but if like we're talking about integration tests, though, we control that entire so this is where I'm getting mixed up in the context of integration tests. Like it shouldn't matter. We kind of start with a porcelain environment and lay all this stuff down and then blow it away, right?
We do have, so that I yes, in this ones that run in the CI, but I think there is some logic in here that's intended to allow some integration tests to run on a real cluster, you know?
Yeah, I think that story itself, like stuff doesn't run on a real cluster today. Like existing state confuses the hell out of the assertions and stuff. So like I think in the short term, if we could just like
Yeah, because it's a
not focus on
cluster-wide
that.
controller. It is a cluster-wide controller. Yeah. The counts will be wrong and stuff.
Yeah, so I just think if we like the problems you highlight are real, but I think like that kind of path right now is broken. Let's not try to fix that path yet to get this in and then figure out that later. I mean, it does need to be fixed. I'm just saying to get some of this stuff merged, I think getting the EDE tests are important, but really only making sure they pass within our CI is kind of the acceptance criteria right
But
now.
even there, like, okay, even if we just focus on that, we still got a problem, which is that installing Cert Manager and Istio, sorry, installing Cert Manager and others are not the same as installing Istio, because Istio has cluster-specific configurations that will need to live in a folder somewhere here. You know what I mean? Like, it will need a gateway manifest. It will need that is compatible with the cluster. You see what I'm saying? Like that's and also then the question of where are we calling from? Because kind, for example, doesn't have a load balancer by default. And so like it's fine because we can point to the service of the load balancer, but it's
right. Yeah, I was gonna say like my poor man's solution would be we rely on like port forwarding to the service.
Cluster IP. What I'm saying is we can make a cluster IP gateway, right? But
yes.
Where is that living? You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what I'm trying to get my head around, which is like and so these problems can be largely solved before your other PR is what I'm saying as well, which they should be, in fact, I think. Because then the goal is just that when you run end-to-end tests, that we successfully see these resources come up and then get torn down. And that's all we do. We don't actually use them. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying in the short term.
Yeah, some of the stuff in dashboard, they have kind of like these types of manifests defined in test. Do we just, for now, want to just have like a subfolder in test?
So you're meaning...
I know some of the stuff Kimonis was looking at, I look under test, sorry, not under any one component, but under the testing. And then in GH actions, I think they have like this kind of stuff. And then in resources, there are actual manifest definitions.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where we used these. We used them in...
And then it's all used in the, as far as I understand it, it's all ends up getting used in the CI, like GitHub actions themselves.
I don't think... I'm just thinking if any end-to-end tests actually would even fail if the gateway was configured incorrectly. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure that any of them would. Just by the nature of them. The only thing that could fail is the resource might not exist, which is why they've got install Istio. Although maybe there's gonna definitely in the future once the auth gets put in here, it will. But like if I go not Angular, if I go dashboard integration test, because they install kind, customize, Kubeflow. I don't know if these CIs are correct, but the interesting. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's all it's doing. Just checking that it exists in this particular case. Yeah, so these things can obviously be done either way as long... So maybe the short-term solution is... In fact, that's actually what we should do. The short-term solution should be that the install... Yeah, so this is a separate task then. So we need a suite that installs Istio's CRDs effectively and does not install anything else. You know, like so, and then the test itself can have an assertion, which is that the gateway it can create the gateway for you. You know what I mean? Like in the test, the integration test can create the gateway that it expects to exist. You see what I'm saying? Like as part of the Istio specific test suite.
Right. I can take a look and next time I can ask more questions as I go through this.
And of course, then the second question is going to be, hey, where do I install Istio from? And if we look at this one, the answer for Set Manager is, I think they're just pulling it from its customized, right? Yeah, they're just pulling it from its URL upstream, which I don't know if it exists in SDO. The problem is SDO includes a lot of stuff by default. That's my only concern. And there's also crazy stuff because SDO is also a cluster-wide config, same as Set Manager actually. But like, if things that exist in the Istio namespace can impact everything, it's kind of just like configs that exist in the Istio namespace apply to all namespaces, which is kind of annoying. Anyway, cool. So I think it's debatable whether they need to be in the same PR or not, but I don't think they. Well,
I can start with splitting them into 2 pull requests.
it just might
for-
make it hard to validate that you've done it correctly. But yeah, I think
yeah, and then we can club them together, right? Once we have a structure.
yeah, it's fine either way. Set Manager 1 could be merged before the others. So sorry, Set Manager. Istio 1 could be merged before the others. Anyway, cool. I think anything else that needs my input here?
Those were the only 2 questions I had, but I now have a direction, so I'll go ahead.
Make sure that you pass linting, by the way. You're not passing linting correctly.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that.
So make sure you always run make lint before you.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did we get clarity on the endpoint? I'm sorry if I spaced out here. Like the actual thing we're going to expose. Did we?
I
thought Matthew said we stay with this, right?
don't think there's any other way to do this, right? Yeah, this is
Okay.
kind of like, yeah. The actual path, by the way, is more.
See, I guess what's not clear to me in this path is, does this like works, like is there an Istio virtual service prefix on this for routing purposes, right? Like we have like, slash workspaces for front end, slash workspaces API for back end that kind of get rewritten and disappear that allow us to route properly. So
Of course, you can have workspace / connect. You could have workspace, like what I'm saying is we could prefix with workspaces / connect, obviously. But also we should configure them to be configurable, right? So they should be the same.
Right.
They should.
So yeah, that's what I wasn't sure on, if
I guess
that
the
workspace
debate-
here is
the
a
first-
configurable bit, or if there's a configurable bit. I kind of like that, like whatever our app prefix is / connect as like, what the virtual service is configured as to expose.
That's probably what I would do, because also that path can be served by the front end in the case that Istio is not installed and redirect you to however the system should work, like for the case where we're supporting non-Istio.
Yeah.
Because that's still under the path of the front end. Because like we can assume that the front end will be installed, right? You know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm saying. So the front or backends. Oh, that's interesting actually, right? Because actually the backend would need to answer that, but that's fine. The backend can answer under /API and /connect.
Connect, yeah.
Yeah. My preference is that. The only question is when to do that change. Effectively, it should just be configured as. It needs to be configurable though. With that prefixes for workspaces needs to be configurable just like it is on the others, but
Yes.
on the front end, on the back end. Sorry. Okay. I'm trying to think that we don't overlap in any way with. How does the pathing work on the front end? People who know. So like when you are browsing around pages, how are you?
So it's like workspaces / workspaces to go to workspaces, and then workspaces / workspace kind to go to workspace kind. Is what I gather. But yeah, others can correct me.
Yeah, that's what we're experimenting with right now.
Interesting. And so how many pages that have distinct URL paths are there? Right now, at least.
Something
Technically only 2.
5, maybe. Let me see. Guillermo can probably know a little better. How many routes are there right now, Guillermo? Do you know?
Not for back end, but for front end.
1,
let
2,
me see.
3,
So there is the
4,
workspace
5,
/ then
6,
workspace
7,
create and edit.
7-ish.
right?
Yeah.
Where I say like,
So-
because like, yeah.
Yeah, on the essential dashboard, we can have two, like which is workspaces and workspace kinds. And then we have the create, like the various pages, like create, edit, and then the detail pages. So 7-ish, yeah.
But are they
Oof.
all under this base workspaces prefix, right?
That's what I'm working on right now. I'm working on implementing a prefix.
I think they
We
should.
don't have a prefix right now.
Oh, yes,
to
yes.
be
But what I'm
fair.
saying is they need to be under at least workspaces, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
otherwise they end up with that pathing issue. You know, like,
Yep.
because effectively what I'm expecting to happen is that just like we have in the central dashboard, I a couple of releases ago, who didn't put a freaking padding on this? Okay. Why did dashboard get moved to the bottom, guys? Oh my god. Whatever. Okay. Where is it? Oh, you can't see it here. Oh, it'll be in a pipelines. Ah, it's actually not. Okay, whatever. You can see it under this page here, which is that I made a group called pipelines, which actually
Yeah.
is expandable. Presumably,
Yeah, I
we're
know.
going to
I
pull
know.
one called workspaces, which expands as well, and we'll replace these other two as well. You know, it's going to get rid of tensor boards, it's get rid of volumes, and it will have workspaces, workspace kinds, and other things in the future. You know, like jobs. I think jobs will be there as well, right?
Okay.
And so, from a pathing perspective, this helps us.
Yeah, right now that doing that, we're already doing that right now. I think Andy and we were hashing that out yesterday. That already works. We have the two paths on the links there.
Yeah, and because like from a routing perspective, all we would be doing is on the front end manifest, which presumably we're going to talk about in a second.
In the config,
Wherever it is. Yeah, when they get PR'd in, I think it's PR. That there would just be a carve out for the virtual service for just like there is for API, you know, like that it says to the virtual service that actually is serving the front end, don't send this API request to the front end because they're not where they are. You know what I mean? Like if you go workspaces/API, it should send you to the.
Yeah. We have that in the, I think it's in the virtual service.
I definitely think we need to have connect then, or CN or something. You know what I mean? Or I don't know. Like a connect is fine.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm working on right now. It's hard coded in my environment, but this afternoon probably gonna explore like having a dedicated app prefix, so that can be customizable.
I guess the question is just whether we want to have like workspaces/views for like a subgroup.
I was thinking like workspaces/list for that, and workspaces/kind
what's the
for the
default
workspace
one?
kind.
I think it's
Default
fine
is
to have it be the
workspaces.
name of the resource. You know what I mean? But
the default one is workspaces, like the
slash
list of
workspace.
workspaces.
Or so
No,
the
just
prefix is workspaces.
Yeah. So right now the default is /workspaces/workspaces.
Okay, that's a bit weird, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, but
As
that's
I
what
was
we have
saying
right
in
now.
Slack, though, I don't think it is, right? It's just our application and our REST resource share the same name, right? Like
That is what
they
we
are
have right now.
two different concepts, application/RESTful resource. We just happen to be called Kubeflow workspaces.
Because like there's also the question of like,
workspaces.
Is there a specific path for, so there is some benefit to having an admin path. Just for any, like, because it makes it easier to restrict, but the
That's what I have right now on I put in the chat like /workspaces/workspaces.
That's probably fine. Okay, so it's fine. Those paths don't need to be, they can change anyway. So yeah, I think anyway, answer to your question, let's make this connect. So make this so obviously that is changing from the anyone else got any other ideas or other words they want to use?
Yeah, I like connect.
I like it.
Is this
again,
to
it implies
access
that
the notebook itself?
Yeah, and so it also allows us to have, okay, it also allows us in the future to use a different word for connect if necessary. You know what I mean? If we need to add another prefix with a different structure following it.
Yes.
Like, for example, right now connect implies namespace/workspace name, you know what I mean? Whereas /port/ nothing because that's just the app at that point. But the you know, like it should be fine.
So just to consolidate, right now you want it to be like on workspaces/connect, right? Where workspaces is the app prefix and connect is the actual serving endpoint.
And so this will be, and so the doing that will break the other integration test because the integration test
Yeah, I saw it. It is on the specific path. I can change that too.
where is it actually on the specific path? Like it's
It's on the e2etest.go. Yeah,
yeah, so I'm just checking because like it goes curl.
it's on 2 lines 277.
How do we end up getting the prefix on this one though? We get it on. I think the reason this works is because workspace, not workspace, the actual notebook image itself has been told to only listen under this path.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the reason. Like if we like, and you can easily confirm that by just going to the one that we looked at before. Well, we can just go there. It's under internal controller, workspace controller, service, generate service. Like, I'm pretty sure. Oh no, so that's not right. Sorry, the service. This has no HTTP. This is a layer 4 or whatever. But the sorry, it's. What I'm trying to say is that the actual path is. I think it would be. I think all that we're doing is just checking that it succeeds. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, that's all it is. Which it would under any circumstance. So yeah. Okay, that's fine. So what I'm saying is changing the path won't affect these tests. These will still succeed. Well, you should still change it just in case, but like, you know.
Right.
And so I believe there is a path. There's a path. Like there's a lot of places where this structure is hard coded. I don't know. Don't make this configurable. Just make it workspaces for now. Is what I'm saying. So first step is make it hard coded workspaces / connect, and then for everywhere that it is, and which is mainly under the like env one, like generate state we'll say, yeah. See, like this is hard coded here as well, right?
Yeah, I can look it up and
Just pretty much do a control F for that, you know what I mean? So the question is which PR to do that in. I would say
I'll do it in the next one. Like first let's get the CRD ones, and then when I'm going to consolidate the CRD ones with the 500 one, we can do it there.
yeah, it's fine to do it in separate ones or whatever. It's like you could honestly do it in the port one as well. It's not a huge deal. But yeah. Okay, cool. Anyway, that's good. Anything else that you need from me? I don't
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah, so step 1, let's get that port ID 1 done. Step 2, let's
I'll consolidate the 500 with the 507 along with this workspace / connect change.
No, I'm saying we can literally merge 507 before we do anything else. Let's try and get 507 merged before we do 500. So no need to consolidate, what I'm saying.
Got it.
Yeah, and then the next one would be do a basic test of adding Istio as an installed step to the E2E test and just try and get them to pass, and we can just debate that there, and if they don't end up working, we can fix it in the next PR. And then the next PR should be actually adding the virtual service, which should then be using the Istio that we just installed in the previous PR. There should be 3 PRs in total. And in that one is the one that we can update the path, I think.
Yeah.
Because that means we can actually test it, because we'll actually know if it works. You know what I mean?
Wait, sorry, just to play that back so I understand, Matthew, we're going to, obviously we'll do our pre-review here of 507, make sure it's good. I'll look at that and work with Harshad. So we want to get 507 merged. In 500, we want to just install Istio and make these changes that you talked about. And then
in a separate PR, just make a new PR.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Like just, you know, just add a new PR. That's all. Like, so like make a new PR for the controller that just adds Istio to the ETE test. Just
Oh,
so that we
okay.
can, just so we can get that passing with, because that will just, I think that'll just distract us otherwise if we're not, like, again, with the goal of just not doing anything if Istio CRDs are seen, and we just assume that they're correctly installed, you know, just like we do for the concert manager. And so effectively, when you look at the tests, utils here, there'll be one which says, is Istio installed, you know? There might even have been one previously that someone did, honestly. Let me just check. And no. There's one closed. I wonder if that got stale. No, it didn't. Okay, so yeah, so that's what I would suggest there. And in terms of upstream installers, unfortunately, there's a couple of we could use SDOCTL, but like let's try and just use customize if we can. Just confirm if they have a URL. They don't, but it's under.
I mean, I know I'm gonna take your ire here, but do we just point to the manifest in Kubeflow manifest right now?
I don't think it's necessary, is what I'm saying, because
Okay.
literally, let's just try and get the CRDs and core controller installed. Effectively, our test for is Istio installed should be: is there a hard-coded Istio-system namespace? Does that exist? Does it have the main Istio-D controller in it running? And is the CRD installed? And that's all we're going to check. You know what I mean? Because like it's effectively like if I created an Istio resource, would it work? Is kind of my, you know, we don't need to really validate it. Just like assume that someone hasn't really borked their cluster again, because they can just tear it down if they have. And then we will install it otherwise. And what we would install will be under manifests. We will probably, since as I'm saying, it's a bit painful, but you can pass in a customize. So if you'll notice that, oh crap, you notice that what we are doing in these ones, install and various things, is we pass to a URL. So this is a YAML. Unfortunately, the way that I don't know if there's a bundle, is what I'm saying. So let me just we can't use the Helm chart, by the way, just for various reasons, because it installs a bunch of random configs by default. They're not standard. We're just trying to get the CRDs and the main controller. That's what I'm saying. Because then we'll add the gateways in the integration test so that we can have the integration test assume there is no gateways or configs by default and fail if there are, you know? So what is it under manifest? Is probably not right then. It used to be under a folder called deploy. Release, maybe? No. It's like, okay, maybe we just go here, because like I know that a lot of people use Helm. You know, for ages they build their own Helm charts. Maybe they don't have a customized installer anymore. Yeah. Because the way that we're doing it upstream in manifests is common. Because like I think what we might be doing is just rendering out a Helm chart. Yeah, see what we're doing is rendering out a Helm chart, which the problem with that is just that they change stuff all the time. Actually, wait, I take this back. What do we do in the in that script from the dashboard, which is actually the one that we install, because that's exactly what we're doing, right? So we're just installing the CRDs in that one. So that one is actually, I don't know if these are great because these just got pulled in randomly, but let me just Istio. I had a feeling they'd be using Istio CTL. That's what I had a feeling. So that's fine. Let's just do that, I think. I really got a bunch of PRs into Istio CTL I need to make. Okay, because effectively this.
So sorry, just to play that back in terms of acceptance criteria of this PR, we'll just kind of follow the dashboard model, which is using Istio CTL to install. But if we see that Istio system as a namespace exists, we'll just abort right now to be like,
I'm going to bet that there is just is Istio installed command is what I'm trying to say. Let me just check though. Most like for example, I know the cert manager has something like that, but let me just. And so Istio CTL by default, I would believe uses. I'm guessing Istio CTL has a version, yeah, and it probably installs the Istio version for the CTL that it does by default. We just need to confirm that it doesn't install default thing. How do I check if it's installed? Why? I guess it's just interesting. The commands there. Install as you idea. Admin. Install. Where's install? Uninstall. Is there like an is installed? Is the first kind of question.
Or
Come back to that.
exists. Yeah.
There's a manifest install. What is that? Interesting. So this obviously is creating a customized manifest, presumably, but the because that's kind of what they were saying here, that you can do this if you want to. We don't need to do this. I'm just worried that it might install the operator accidentally. I'm just install. So I feel like doing install and then verifying it might work. You know what I mean? Like, what is this item potent? The question is, what isn't, you know what I mean? Is obviously we should definitely fail if we think that the user already has it. Because again, we really don't want to accidentally, if someone accidentally runs make end-to-end on a production cluster, we just want to avoid that as much as possible, which we already actually avoid that mostly because your production cluster should not be a kind cluster. And we try and fail if we see a kind cluster, I believe. But let me just check, because like we go kind, and maybe it's this one. I forget where it is. Anyway, but I wonder if we actually have some PRs that aren't merged here. Yeah, interesting. I wonder who that is. Okay, interesting. Oh my god, we need to merge this. Okay, anyway, let's that's interesting. So anyway, we're getting pretty deep into the weeds now. Let's probably I think let's try and wrap this up so we can stop the recording and go on other things. But let's so I would say for now just raise a PR that pretty much just does what is the SDO CRDs installed? If so, skip the SDO install, assume they've done it correctly. If that ends up failing for the user, then they can blow their cluster away manually, just in case, you know, we don't want to ever accidentally I believe we also do have a config here which says like skip.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll take a look and I'll let you guys know how it goes.
Yeah. Cool. That one. So yeah, the goal should just be make sure the only thing just to qualify is that make sure that Istio doesn't install lots of default things if necessary. But if it does, then we can, that's fine too. Because I think it probably will. My guess is if you go Istio install, it probably will install a default gateway. But I maybe there's a command to not do that.
Yeah.
Check. Nah, okay. Install. Is there a flag for gateway? Let's just check. No, it doesn't look. Okay, cool. Okay, well, that's fine for now. Cool. So like 3 PRs. Let's get 507 merged. Let's get Istio installer into this step manage into the inter tests. Then let's do a updated version of 500 that has integration tests and also changes to the connect path, and that's those 3 things. Okay. Any other questions?
No, that's it. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks.
Yeah, cool. I'm excited to get this one done. This is like this is the beginning of the actual end-to-end flow, which is good. Thank you for your time on that as well. Awesome. Anyone else got anything they need to ask questions about before we kind of go on? I'm gonna stop the recording or. Okay, cool. I'm gonna stop recording. We can stay on for a bit.